We talk about gun stocks every once in a while on this channel. But the problem is with most of them, any gun stock is not something a user is gonna pick up the first time, snap their controllers into it, and instantly be better at shooters. It's something you have to put a lot of time in, you have to be pretty serious about shooters, muscle memory, all these factors. Well, of course, when I say that there is no gun stock that makes me better at shooters than I am without one, everybody tells me, I think I know a gun stock. And so I have a couple of them here today to check out. First one here, Brett Blackburn. Met him at Gamescom. I don't even know if I can use a unboxing knife on this box. Really nice guy, really funny. We really enjoyed hanging out with him. He was designing his first one. We talked about it a little bit on the channel. Sent me a sample of it. I'm a little late on opening it. There's probably already other reviews of these out there. But this one, I would say falls in the camp of a more serious gun stock, but it is trying to come in at a lower price to make gun stocks more approachable. Because I mean, there's ones out there, carbon fiber, $200, $300, depending on the accessories. So this one still has some carbon fiber, still looks fancy, but it's trying to come in at a more approachable price point and be very adjustable, very usable. These here, if you're like, what the heck were those from the beginning of the video? There's a full video I'll leave at the end of this one just in case. These aren't necessarily like a gun stock that are supposed to make you play better, but it's supposed to be more immersive with the haptics in them, and it really is. I really like these just to show people pistol whip or something and have some fun playing it. But ultimately, these aren't really like a gun stock that's gonna help your precision, except for you can kind of like put your hands on each other and kind of use it that way, but it's not their intended purpose. So you can see already this right here, a design of how this thing's gonna fit in. I obviously have some assembly to do and I gotta put this thing, I will say that right there for some reason. It's like when you hold the perfect water bottle that has like those finger slots in them, this perfectly fits my fingers. It may not be the same for everybody, but that right there just feels really good. Now, I know he sent me instructions and you should always look at instructions, but I also always wonder with gun stocks like these, can I put it together myself? Because I feel like if it's that simple, then people might like that about it. This looks like pretty clearly this would go in here. I am making some assumptions, but let's try it. This side loosens. Maybe don't loosen it quite that far. Brett's probably watching this and freaking out right now because I'm probably already putting this thing together wrong. Because it's not really wanting to go together, so that tells me maybe I am putting it together wrong. Dang it, maybe I will look at the instructions. We're fine, everything's fine, everything's fine. Because this clearly is your shoulder, butt here. Some of these things I do look at them and I go, huh, how the heck would that attach? This almost looks like one of those, like where you put the gun down and it stabilizes it. I can't imagine that's what this is. You just look like you should just go right in there. Why do you not? Okay, you beat me. I will go look at the video. We'll look at the video on that one and let's see what else we got here. This, I believe, if this is what I think this is, we've actually looked at these a little bit before, but the iStocks advertise themselves as being the simplest, cheapest option that still gives you that kind of 3 points of contact stability for your gun. And this might even be a new model. So we've got what looks like the original, the one that I've done. I've played around with one before. Very simple, 3D printed, literally just gives you the shoulder stability and your back gun slips and leaves your other hand free. Probably the kind of stock that makes the most sense for me with how much freedom I require. This looks like a shoulder butt extension. Okay, I think it's 3 of the same, and I think it's because they said they were gonna send me some extras to just give away. I want to give away the one that comes in the nice package. I need instructions apparently. Maybe I'm just getting worse at this whole gun stock thing. All right, so we have the iStock here. We have Brett Blackburn's R1 Armory tactical gun. I'll have to look that name up and make sure that's right too. I'm gonna take these away for a little while. I'm gonna test them out. We're gonna get them all assembled, play with them in games, and get back at you with some final thoughts on what we think about how they work, the price, what audience are they for? Are they for people like me who want something really simple? Are they for someone who's thinking about the Pro Tube and the hundreds of dollars it costs, but just wants something a little bit cheaper? We'll find out and we'll get back at you shortly. I do appreciate the stability in the shoulder, but there's definitely a learning curve to having that locked in place where I'm used to being able to move the gun closer to me. It is more realistic, I'll give it that. Oh crap, oh crap. So like clearly in real life, when you have a gun with a big stock on it, hang on, let me buy a weapon. I couldn't physically get this gun right here closer to my shoulder than it would really be with this stock in. But when I'm used to playing parallel, I'll pull the gun up sometimes up here, which is kind of unrealistic. This does force you to be a little more realistic about it. So I should be resting my hand up against here. So this one, you get the full 3 points of contact and the stability from all that. But then, of course, you suffer from the issue that a lot of gun stocks have where there's things out here you can hit. This one is a little more cumbersome, but I feel like I'm doing much better with it than I do with most gun stocks. The fact that I'm not trying to lock my left hand into something makes a big difference. Like the fact that I'm just resting it quickly, it's working so much better. Oh, wow, that one went a lot better. All right, let's take these things away for a while and come back for some final thoughts.
One eternity later.
iStock VR Armory R1 from Tactical Gear, $90 for this one. Not surprising with the carbon fiber construction, the rails, the strength, the durability, how much there is to it. $26 on Etsy, fully 3D printed. I mean, there's probably even options to get the print and then do it yourself if you're a 3D printer. Very opposite ends of the spectrum here. Lightest, simplest, easiest gun stock that's really just meant to give you the shoulder brace. They do include this, which I really don't use or like. What this is this gives you some kind of 3 points of stability. Now, when I say 3 points of stability, with a gun stock, you get your shoulder, right hand, left hand. That's 3 points of stability. Clearly, with the iStock, you're only getting 1, 2, and then your other hand's free. Your Quest controllers have their wrist straps on them. This is made to attach to those wrist straps, and then it kind of gives you this ability to like reach out and pull on the cable, and that kind of gives you like a 3rd point. Although in my opinion, it's too far away. It does still give you the ability to kind of reach around, grab your mags and stuff. And weirdly, if you really wanted to, you could drop the controller because of that, and then have your other hand out if you needed to do something, and then pick it back up. I feel like this was kind of an afterthought, kind of a moot point, and not something I would use with it. If I do use it, I use it only this way. Ultimately, and you know this from earlier in the video, I am not a gun stock person. I have never found the gun stocks have ever made me more effective and a better player that I found they were worth the trade-off. And there's trade-offs with both of these, although I will come back around and talk a little bit more about this one because I was surprised by some things about this one. But I've played with the iStock before. This wasn't nearly my first time. And ultimately, I always thought, okay, if I was in just a sniping game, Sniper Elite, something with just sniping missions mostly, it is nice to have that bit of stability and really be able to hold and aim better. In a fast-paced game like Pavlov or Contractors where you're quickly moving, you're running, for me personally, it still got in the way more. It was still a bit more cumbersome. And I did like at least that it was only one hand that had it on. I could reach around, I could still dual wield pistols, but ultimately it still caused me enough trouble that it wasn't for me. At the price though, you can try it out and you can decide, hey, maybe you do like it and you always use it, or you realize you really like it, but you want something with more stability and you can go for a higher end model. This surprised me, because I am really not a gun stock person, especially when it's the kinds that both your controllers lock in with magnets or something, because you're in VR and you're trying to quickly load a mag and then you have to like find the spot, and it was always a pain. With this one now, I found that I could just reach my hand up and lock it back in place. I could push this forward and lock it down on top, and that was enough that I was finding good stability with the whole thing, with my aim, with my shots. It's not adjustable enough that you're gonna adjust it in-game, in my opinion. Maybe if you get really good, or maybe if you're playing like I was without a facial animation, you can kind of see, you could turn and move and tighten, but ultimately you're gonna find it for your main gun, your favorite gun, and then you're probably gonna just use it like this. And I was shocked at how much it was actually enhancing my experience, mostly because my biggest complaints are, 1, my other hand is always getting in the way. 2, the gun stock itself gets in the way, which did happen to me some, but it was free enough that you can adjust it to where it'll stay out of the way. And this part just feels really good in this hand. For me as well though, there's the extra trade-off of I usually have grips on my controllers, so I had to take my grip off to get this in here. And depending on what kind of grips you have, at least with the Bobo VR grips that I have on this one, you just take the grip off and it's the original controller. But some of them replace the battery door, then you'd have to go find a battery door, swap the battery door off, put it in here like this. I will still say either of these are probably for people who are pretty serious about shooters. You have to be someone who wants to put in the time, who wants to learn and get better enough at it. But ultimately, this one, I would probably use it just like this right here. You can change it weapon to weapon. I'd probably keep it a little bit closer. But ultimately for me, this felt decently good enough that I would actually say the next time someone's like, hey, let's go play Pavlov together, I would think about this one. I don't guarantee I'd go get it or use it, but I would think about it, which is more than I can say pretty much for any gun stock I've ever used. This one, Simple, still not for me, but I think there's probably a lot of people out there who like its simplicity, and like the fact that their left hand is completely free. So if you're interested in either, if they give me any discount codes or anything, I will leave them below with those same caveats that me personally, I'm not a great one to review gun stocks because I never find them to be better for me, but there's tons of you out there. There's pros that use them in their competitions. People absolutely love some of them, so maybe these are ones for you to check out. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments down below. Do you use one? Which one do you use? Did you go for that full carbon fiber Pro Tube, like $200 one? That one for me was just, it was way too cumbersome. It seemed so cool, and then I got one and I never used it. So I'd love to know in the comments how you feel about them, but thank you once again for being here with me, and I'll see you in another reality.